All right, so I want you to stay standing for just a minute. Because I want you to imagine, just go with me in your mind, don't fall down or anything, but just imagine that at the end of this session, you have to make an important decision for your career. It might be approaching the next person that you want to be your mentor. It might be choosing your classes for next semester. It might be choosing which company you want to apply to. I want you to stay standing if, with 100% of the information available to you, you feel like you can make a pretty good decision. If you don't feel like you could, you're welcome to sit down. But with 100% of the information, confident, standing. Most of you, that's awesome. What if I took away half the information? Still confident? Stay standing. Oh, I lost a few. I'm losing a few more. Okay, how about 5% of the information? You get 5%. Still confident? Stay standing. Okay. What's your name? Austin. Okay, Austin is one of the most confident people in the room. We got a couple more. Okay, so I'm going to try this again. If I gave you 3 10,000ths of 1% of the information, are you still confident? Stay standing. All right, how many of you want Austin making a decision for your career based on 3 10,000ths of 1% of the information? Anybody? Austin, you're getting no love, I'm sorry. All right. Thanks you guys for standing, I appreciate it, you may be seated. So why does this matter? Your brain, every second of every day, is doing exactly that. Your brain can process, in the subconscious processing of your brain, you get 11 million sensory inputs per second. The rational thought process of your brain can handle 40. Every second of every day, you are discarding almost 100% of the available information to make your decisions. And what's even more important to you, and the thing that you should know is that what your brain is discarding is anything that it thinks it's seen before. We're really good at pattern matching. We're really good at sorting things into been there, done that, and whoa, this might kill me. And it makes sense, right? Because we used to live in caves, and when we would step out of the cave, we had to know if I can eat this thing or if it's going to eat me. And if another cave person approached us, we had to know, are they in my tribe or not? Because if they're not, this could be the end of me. Now, most of us in the millennia that have followed have evolved a little bit. Don't read the comments sections of any website anywhere, or it will completely disprove my assertion, okay? Oh, and I should mention, if you want to follow along online, if you want to ask me questions about this presentation, I'm happy to answer you after if you just follow using the code up there. So, if our brain is discarding most of the information available to us, and because it can't be everywhere at once, it focuses on the things that maybe it perceives most as a threat, and it knows what it perceives as a threat based on our biases, it's probably worth knowing where those biases come from, right? Okay, so if you're not with me so far, I want you to imagine again for just a moment, and I know we had the distracted driving conversation earlier today, but I want you to imagine that you're driving down a highway very late at night, deserted highway, no lights anywhere, and you look up in your rearview mirror and you see police cruiser lights. What's the first thing you notice about yourself?
Check the speed.
Whose foot's off the gas? Like instinctively at your table you went, what would that mean? Your heart's racing maybe? I know you're all safe drivers because you're going into insurance. But let's imagine for a moment that before you were a safe driver, you maybe got 1 or 2 or 5 speeding tickets in high school, and you remember this. Or maybe because of the kind of car you drive, or how old you are, or what you look like, or your race, or your gender. You may have all sorts of things going on in your mind about why this police officer is behind you on this road. So what's happening here is the feeling part of your brain, the amygdala, is sending endorphins and adrenaline through your body before the thinking part of your brain has a chance to know what's going on. Excuse me. So your thinking actually catches up to your feeling and not the other way around. And what that means is that your gut reactions are in the driver's seat unless you intervene. So now, it's worth knowing then where these gut reactions come from, right? If they're in charge without you. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's the thing. Our preferences, our biases, start to be formed for us before we're even born. And if you don't believe me, I will ask you, who is this a gift for? A baby girl? How many of you sitting at your tables right now would love it if somebody bought you this for a gift right now? A couple of you? Okay. Excellent. How many of you would have loved it when you were 4 years old? Probably not so many, right? Probably none of the guys when they were 4 years old would love to get pink booties. Before you're even born, the first question that's asked of your parents is it a boy or a girl? So is it fair then to say that when you come out of the womb and you're in the world and people are interacting with you instead of your parents, that they're maybe interacting with you differently based on the answer to that question? I think so. Any star athletes in high school in the room? Any college athletes? A couple? Okay. So I'm going to tell you a secret. I have no depth perception because my eyes don't work well together. And so I was last picked for everything in gym class my entire life. Is it fair to say that the world responded a little bit differently to me than it did to some of you star athletes? Okay. So, what happens is, we start to form these ideas about ourselves based on how the world interacts with us. We also start to adopt the values of the culture around us and of our families and of our communities. That's called socialization, and our socialization is not complete until we've internalized it to the point that we no longer have to be punished for violating it. Okay? Now, what happens is we start to form these identities and these values in ways that while we're basing how we identify ourselves in relation to others, we also start to make judgments about others based on how we feel about ourselves. And then we start to connect with and relate to people who are closer to us in our values and our experiences and our identities than others. And this makes our world smaller and smaller and smaller. I'm going to give you 3 steps today to break out of this cycle. We can do it. It's important to do it. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And I'm going to tell you why. You will have to see yourself in a new way so that you can see others fresh. You will have to examine your values. You'll have to examine your identity. You're going to have to choose experiences that are different from those you would normally choose. You're going to have to engage with people whose ideas and values and identities and experiences are different from yours in order to grow, because that's what leadership is. Leadership is about getting as much perspective as you can and making the best decision for everyone. Making the best decision just for yourself is not leadership. No one will follow you. So here are 3 steps. The first is to put yourself on notice. What I mean by this is to notice your responses to situations. When you see the police cruiser lights, notice that your heart is racing. Notice that your foot's off the gas. And then ask yourself, why? Where does that come from? Is there fear? Am I protecting my identity of being a responsible driver? Am I protecting my values of responsibility? Am I basing this off an experience of having been pulled over once or twice or 5 times? Okay? And just noticing these behaviors, noticing these reactions can take away their power over you. I'll give you a very quick example. I used to work with a woman who, on my team, I'm 5'3", super short, right? For most rooms, I am one of the shortest people in the room, and I had this woman on my team, and she's like 4'8", maybe. And every time I talked to her, I had to look down, and she would have to look up, and I was her manager, and this made me incredibly uncomfortable because I try to be a very egalitarian manager. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why I didn't want to talk to Deanne. She was a great team member. She did incredible work. Everybody liked her. I liked her. But it made me uncomfortable. And when I realized it was because I felt like I was metaphorically making her look up to me, and that made me uncomfortable, I finally put my finger on it. I had to laugh at myself. But then I had to stop and think, what if I've done this before? What if I've been uncomfortable with someone for a stupid reason, like they're 6 inches shorter than I am, and I've missed out on a relationship or an opportunity based on that? This wasn't a thing between me and Deanne. This was a thing between my left ear and my right ear. But I could have missed out on a great opportunity with her, to learn from her. The second step is to observe the responses of others. When there's a change going on, when there's an event happening at school or at work, no matter how small, if there are 3 people, you'll observe 3 different responses to that change. Usually somebody's for it, somebody's against it, somebody does not care. Now, whichever camp you're in, take a moment to think about what are the identities or values or experiences that those people are bringing to the table that are different from yours, that are causing them to have a different response. File those away in the database in your mind. Because then you can get to step 3, which is to press your pause button. You have a pause button on your face, it's right under your nose. It's this little divot called your philtrum. If I put my finger on my philtrum, what am I doing? Thank you, thinking. What am I not doing? Talking, thank you. See, somebody's awake. Thank you for not staying out too late last night. Okay, so give yourself a moment to pause and think before you speak. Go back through that database and think about all the things that you could respond with, and then choose the best one for that situation. It's not going to be the same every time, and that's okay. That's the point. These 3 steps are simple, but they're not easy, because they force you to really examine where you come from, who you are, and what kind of person you want to be. They will make a huge difference in your relationships and the opportunities that you seek out, and in how you work with the people around you. And pretty soon, those people will seek you out, because you're the one making good decisions. You're the one people are following. You're the one including others and their perspectives in your decision making. And that's what leadership is. If you'd like to know more about this topic, if you'd like to know how this applies to your network and your career, I do have books available today or online. I'm happy to talk with you after. If you connect with me through the Live&IO app, we can continue the conversation via email. And I want to thank you all for your time. I see a lot of leaders in this room, even though you're exhausted from all the conferencing, but I know that you're going to make a difference in insurance. Thank you.